ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
Hi gamers, I'm back with another Sadako guide. Surely this one won't become obsolete 2 months after I make it, right? This video is going to tell you what each Sadako add-on does alongside my subjective opinion on if it's worth running or not, and why, based on objective reasons with the assumption that the survivors you are playing against fully understand Sadako and her power. You don't play other killers going into a match hoping survivors don't understand your power, so I don't understand why a lot of people are doing it with Sadako. If you only care about where the certain add-ons are, it's up on the screen now. If you care about specific add-ons and their reason, they will all be timestamped so you can jump to specific ones. If you don't plan to watch the whole video, which don't worry, I won't take offense to, I will advise you check out the distorted photo add-on at least, since this add-on does have a unique interaction that you might enjoy trying to get some value out of that I don't think anybody else knows about. This video exists because basically no one is doing any 3.0 Sadako stuff except for some videos I keep seeing of people who don't actually play the killer giving out builds using some of the worst add-ons in the game. A lot of Sadakos I see also use a lot of really bad add-ons, or just don't use them to their full potential, so hopefully this will help some gamers, at least before behaviour inevitably make it obsolete when they probably rework her again, rendering it completely useless like the last Sadako guide I did. If you need proof I actually play Sadako more than one time, just have a mooch down my channel where most of my killer videos are Sadako. Also, here's a happy customer I play against a fair amount.
I'm just gonna believe this is a glitch. It's literally his playstyle. Other Sadako players to do this? Nah, it's 100% glitch. I can just tell by the playstyle. By the way, honestly, you know what, Jenna? I don't think there's other Onryo players out there. I honestly think it's actually only Glitch. He's the only Onryo I ever play against. And the other Onryos that I play against don't teleport. Like I said though, Jenna, it is only Glitch that plays Sadako. Only Glitch.
Don't worry, I don't think I'm the bastion of all knowledge when it comes to our favourite ghost girl.
Shut your stinking mouth, bitch!
So if I have rated an add-on poorly because of an interaction I didn't know existed, I would love to hear about it. But I do request if you disagree with my stance on an add-on, to at least hear out my reasoning so we can have an actual useful discussion in the comments, rather than what happens in most DBD discussions, which is turning it into a shit show. Take this guy on my other video which I was teasing this video on. He gave his stance, and he did it in a respectful manner. Be like this guy. If the audio isn't super consistent, it's because it's taken me multiple weeks to record everything and put it all together, so I apologise in advance. The first one we're going to talk about is probably also going to be the most controversial, so hear me out. It's ring drawing. Picking a survivor who has a tape causes all of the survivors to gain 1 stack of condemn. The number of people I see running this terrible add-on blows my mind. There are multiple levels to why this add-on sucks, but it all boils down to requiring too much effort for too little reward while being outclassed by another add-on. First, we have to acknowledge this add-on's purpose is pushing passive condemn. The old version of this perk used to push condemn on a survivor who completed a healing action on another survivor. This gained you a lot of passive condemn and it was great, since Sadako is good as a hit and run killer, and keeping people injured massively works in your favour since you can't put a tape in a face when you're injured. This means that they either healed and gained a stack of condemn, or they stayed injured and you could stop them from putting tapes in your face and you could massively lower chase times. This version requires you to not only get a hurt, but that survivor must also be holding a tape. In general, versus good players, you won't be getting many hooks, and most of those hooks are opportunistic hooks. Most matches, I'm lucky if in the whole match I've only gotten about 6 hooks, since condemn kills occur on survivors with very few hooks, and on average, it's only about 4 hooks per match. Of those 4 hooks, only 2 or so will be on someone actually holding the tape, meaning the whole match this add-on will realistically only get you about 2 to 3 stacks of condemn per person, which really isn't a lot over the entire course of the match. So if you want to get more value out of this add-on, you'd have to be focusing on hooks on specific players, which will cost you a lot of time you usually don't have. On top of this, players you are actively trying to hook with a tape are usually the ones that are high condemn in the first place, and you want to hook them to break the tape so they can't cleanse, since this is the only way to break a tape in this version of Sadako. So in these situations, you're trying to condemn the person you're hooking, so everybody else getting a stack isn't too relevant. If you're hooking a survivor with the tape to push stacks on others, it's an incredibly inefficient way of going about the end goal, which is to fully condemn one of the other survivors. All in all, it's way too much effort for too little reward, and not only this, but another add-on pushes infinitely more passive condemn than ring drawing ever will in the match, which leads me on to this add-on. Videotape Copy. This add-on increases the condemn push range by 2 meters. Now this not only decimates ring join in terms of passive condemn push, but it does it as a brown rarity add-on instead of a green, and has an amazing side effect. First of all, this add-on works on every single teleport that you do. This is something you'll be doing 20 plus times a game easily if you're a decent Sadako, which means that 20 plus times of potential condemn push you otherwise would not get, compared to ring join, which will only ever get at max 11 potential stacks of condemn push, since there are only 12 possible hook states, and on the 12th hook state the last person would die. As discussed before, you will never get close to 11 procs of ring join, since you need to hook a survivor who also has a tape, whereas there will always be a chance a videotape copy will help you push condemn when you teleport, making it significantly better at passive condemn push than ring join ever will be. This extra 2 meters doesn't sound like a lot, but this does make a massive difference, especially to people pre-running from TVs to prevent your condemn push when you're mid-chase, which is something that happens against good survivors. Not only this, but this add-on also works phenomenally against those who understand her power. The reason for this is right now, as a survivor, if you see the aura of a TV, that means you will get a stack of condemn if Sadako teleports to it, since the aura range of a TV that is on is 16 meters, and that's also the default condemn range push. However, since this add-on increases the range by 2 meters, it means that you can push condemn outside the aura read range, which means that against good survivors you will be pushing condemn on them way more than you otherwise would, since they could be in condemn range and not know it. For this reason, it makes this add-on one of Sadako's best add-ons. But don't just take my word for it, watch this clip.
Let me make sure I'm not near a TV. I don't think... You know what? Oh, fuck. Wait, where's the TV near... I'm not even near one. Hang on. What? Oh, it's fucking there.
This is the point of view of Sin as I'm playing against him, and you'll notice that he's completely confused as to how he's gaining stacks. Now this is someone that I have actually basically one-on-one coached on how to hard counter Sadako, so he knows what to do against it, and he doesn't know what's going on or how he's getting stacks in this situation. This happens a lot when you're running videotape copy versus good survivors, which is why this is, in my opinion, her greatest add-on. But not only this, if you compare this to ring drawing, I just put 3 stacks of condemn on him just from this add-on alone in this very small clip, which is more condemn stacks than you would usually put on anybody with the entirety of the match with ring join. Now we have the thick daddy doinker of Sadako add-ons, Bloody Fingernails. This is by far the most fun add-on she has, and unlike pretty much everything to do with DBD, not only is it fun, but it's one of her best. This add-on gives you a 50% longer duration of speed boost after a teleport, giving you 3 full seconds of speed in total. This add-on combined with lunge speed allows you to fly at survivors camping pallet at Mach 1, and I cannot stress how fun and how strong this add-on is. If you struggle to have fun playing Sadako, slap this bad boy on and call it a day. This is what it looks like on the receiving end. That would have been actually huge to get in there.
Was expecting it to fucking fly around the corner.
If that somehow still not convinced you, maybe this clip will. Hello over there. They're healing. Oh my god! Bloody Fingernails outdid Sprint Burst. Next up is Iri Remote Control. This will show the auras of survivors within 12 meters of a power TV when you teleport. This is insanely strong as it will give you constant aura read throughout the entire match and allows you to see survivors working on generators by turned on TVs, which will then allow you to teleport to other TVs to push more condemn stacks on them. Or you can just use it to find out what TVs they're working on to teleport on top of them. You can also use it to prevent survivors grabbing or putting tapes away at a distance, which is one of the strongest things you can do as a Sadako. It also allows you to see where survivors have ran off to after a TP, which can make getting hits after a teleport significantly easier. All in all, fantastic add-on that gives you invaluable information. Next we're going to move down a tier. These add-ons are still amazing, but they're not as insane as the above tier. The first we will talk about is one of her most underrated add-ons in her arsenal. Well Water will increase how long you are undetectable for when you demanifest by any means by 2 seconds. This means that when you manually enter manifest, you get 2 seconds of undetectable, since normally you don't get any. And coming out of a TV, you get 2 extra seconds instead of the one that you normally get. This allows you to do a couple things. First, it allows you to catch people off guard on generators if you know which one they are working on, by teleporting to the next TV over and using the extra undetectable time to get a free hit. This works even better when combined with Bloody Fingernails to lower the distance before they notice you even more. Here's that combo working against myself. There's no way that's the TV I've got to put in it. It's like, what is this? It can also be used to try and cut people off and catch them off guard, just like this clip. Here we got Yoichi. Gonna TP there. See if we can use our well water to cut him off over here. Oh, we can. Beautiful. It also removes your red stain when manually manifesting for 2 seconds, which can be used on mid to tall wall loot to mind game your opponents, but this one is a bit harder to pull off. The only reason it's not up the top with the greats is because it's not as consistent as the top 3 add-ons, but it's still a great add-on if you know how to utilise it. Next we have Mother's Comb. This add-on will make turned off TVs be highlighted in yellow, and whenever a survivor turns off a TV, it will play a loud noise notification. Since 3.0 Sadako, I haven't really used this add-on much. However, it is still very good information. It can be extremely overwhelming trying to keep track of everything you need to as a Sadako, and this add-on alleviated this a lot. When survivors grab a tape, you'll know exactly what TV's tape and that it's even happened in the first place, because normally you'll need to constantly be looking at the portraits of survivors to see if they've grabbed the tape, which you can miss quite a lot with all that's going on and all that you're keeping track of. It also helps you keep track of all your TVs a lot better, and more importantly, your turned off TV's exact location, which can be critical in trying to cut off people doing tape runs, since you will know all the TV location rather than having to remember them each match by the TVs that have turned off. It will also give you serious information if you have one player who's just going around turning off all your TVs, which means it will act as a counter to this playstyle from the survivors. If you're struggling to keep track of everything going on, I would highly recommend giving this add-on a try. Next is Reiko's Watch. This add-on increases your invisibility while demanifested by 25%. Now, you will notice there is an asterisk on it. The reason being is that Sadako's manifest is and has been bugged since her 3.0 rework. I've done a full video on it, but the too long didn't give a shit version is that they were meant to buff her invisibility while demanifested to 1.2 seconds, from 1 second. However, they actually nerfed it to about 0.74 seconds, and when using this add-on is somewhere in the 0.9 seconds, meaning the invisibility is actually lower with this add-on than where it's not only supposed to be base kit right now, but it's lower than her base kit value before it was supposedly buffed. Due to this, actually testing its effectiveness compared to base kit is impossible, since I don't have a baseline on how much it improves what her base kit invisibility is meant to be to where it goes. So for now, I'd avoid using this add-on and the whole invisibility mind game while demanifested until behaviour pull their fingers out their arse and actually fix this issue. I have put it in S tier however, because with this add-on, it's supposed to increase your invisibility while demanifested to 1.5 seconds, up from 1.2 seconds, and with 1.5 seconds of invisibility while demanifested, it will allow you to do some mind games, so it is probably going to be a very good add-on, assuming that behaviour ever bothered to actually fix this bug, which by the way is one of the only buffs that she was actually supposed to receive for the 3.0 rework. Next we move down a tier. This is a tier where add-ons do actually do something but are worse than the above add-ons in either consistency or just value in general. Here is slightly different to the other tiers however, in that I think some are much better than others, but I don't feel the difference was enough to warrant an entire new tier. Also, they will be labelled as either passive value or active value. Those labelled active will require you to put in some amount of effort to get value from them, whereas the passive ones you will be buffed without needing to directly think about it. If you struggle with Sadako, maybe try the passive ones first. First we'll start with Cabin Sign and Wellstone, since they both do very similar things. Both add-ons reduce the time it takes for a TV to turn back on by 10%, but the brown add-on, Cabin Sign, reduces the time when Sadako teleports, whereas the yellow add-on Wellstone reduces the time when a survivor turns off a TV. Cabin Stone reduces it in total by 4.5 seconds. Again, this is when you as a Sadako teleport. Wellstone by 7 seconds, which is when the survivor turns off a TV, whether that's by grabbing a tape, depositing a tape, or turning a TV off while holding a tape. Both these add-ons just passively work in the background and do improve your overall map pressure, and it does add up over time, but it isn't nearly as impactful as the above add-ons. However, for new players, or players who for whatever reason aren't taking Condemn into account, they're pretty decent add-ons that require zero brain power for you to find some value from them. Next up is Mother's Mirror. This add-on increases the intermittent invisibility after manifesting by 2 seconds, giving you 7 seconds of intermittent visibility instead of 5. This can be very good for mind games on awkward tiles, where it may take you a little longer than normal to go around a wall, and can be good for extended mind games of confusing your opponent as to where your position is, or if you're just trying to get used to doing the manifest mind game and want a little longer to do it. All in all, not absolutely game changing, but it is a nice little buff if it's all you have available, and does stack well with the next add-on. Next up is Old Newspaper. This increases the duration of your invisibility after manifesting by 33%. This add-on isn't bad by any means, but the time you're invisible compared to standard isn't drastically high enough for it to matter every single time you manifest. Therefore, it's in there just if you have nothing else. The length it does increase it though may cause survivors to hesitate just enough to get a hit, but it's far from guaranteed, and it does require you to be fairly decent with the manifest mind game to begin with. It does stack very nicely with Mother's Mirror and Wellwater though, so if you want to full commit your add-ons to the manifest mind game, these add-ons might be the ones for you. Next we have Yoichi's Fishing Net. This add-on makes survivors blind if they are at 4 or more stacks of Condemn. This add-on is one I've been struggling with on where to place it, and with the empty space at the bottom of the bottom tier, that is where this add-on once sat. Back in 3.0 Sadako on the PTB, this add-on was easily S tier because you could lock in all stacks of Condemn on the first hook of a survivor, meaning you could make a survivor blind for the rest of the match off a single hook if you hook them at 4 stacks. However, right now you can only lock in a maximum of 3 Condemn stacks per hook, which means that you will need to get 2 hooks for this add-on to be permanently active. If you manage to lock in 3 stacks though, you could probably consistently keep them blind, which may make it useful for this. It also encourages survivors to cleanse their Condemn so that they aren't blind, and the last thing that you want to do as a Sadako is give the survivors even more reason to cleanse their Condemn. But there is one single reason this add-on was bumped up a tier, and that's because of the survivor perk, Windows of Opportunity.
I can't see shit without my fucking glasses!
This perk lets you see all palettes and windows on the map and makes looping very easy, and more importantly, it's the most used perk in the game as of the time of making this video, according to Nightlight. Chaos Shuffle, the mode that randomly assigns each player perks, has taught us that taking Windows of Opportunity away from players who are reliant on it causes them to loop significantly worse. When someone is at maximum Condemn stack, they tend to loop fairly poorly, due to the pressure of knowing if they mess up, they're instantly dead. With this add-on, it will mean the most used survivor perk for looping will flat out not work, meaning you drastically increase the chances of them making a mistake while looping. Therefore, it's in if you have nothing else, since it may cause you to finish chases and get Condemn kills which you otherwise wouldn't, since Windows is so widely used. I would only recommend using this add-on if you're a Sadako who is able to put a lot of Condemn pressure and, more importantly, maintain that pressure and prevent people cleansing, and if you're one of those Sadakos, odds are you have an abundance of previously mentioned add-ons, and I would take those over this any day. Now we've reached the add-ons where you shouldn't run them under any circumstances, since the effects either flat out don't do anything useful, get outclassed by other add-ons completely, or can be hard countered by the survivors. Clump of Hair reduces the threshold of full invisibility by 4 meters. Basically, while Sadako is demanifested past a certain distance, he can't be seen at all, much like Freddy. This add-on reduces that distance by 4 meters. However, the distance she can be seen from is still far enough to pre-run on any generator where this add-on would be useful. In fact, in my many hundreds of hours playing this killer, I've literally never had this passive ability get me a hit, because the base distance she can be seen from is simply too far for it to matter. Don't bother wasting your time with this one. Next we have another 2 add-ons which we're going to be comboing together because they do similar things, much like before. Sea Salt Cloth and Rickety Pinwheel. These add-ons will make survivors within 8 meters of a power TV become blind/oblivious, and it will linger for 7 seconds when they leave the radius. These 2 add-ons are add-ons from a bygone era of Sadako 1.0 and 2.0. The Oblivious add-on used to allow you to sneak up on survivors doing generators, since they wouldn't hear your terror radius. The reason this works is because back in 1.0 and 2.0 Sadako, holding a tape would have some kind of downside. In 1.0 you would gradually gain Condemn while not in a chase, holding a tape, and 2.0 being hit by Sadako while holding a tape would give you 2 stacks of Condemn. This meant survivors would regularly do gens by turned on TVs, meaning you would actually get some value out these add-ons. However, with 3.0 Sadako, behaviour took any and all downsides of holding a tape and launched them out the window. The result is anyone who knows what they are doing will not sit next to a turned on TV doing generators, meaning you will never actually get these add-ons to proc, and the range is far too small to get passable value out the blindness add-on mid-chase, and being oblivious mid-chase does nothing. If they increased the time you would be blind/oblivious with the Sadako rework to 30 seconds or something, I could see them being useful, but at only 7 seconds, they are less than useless. Iridescent videotape.
Look how they mess with my boy.
No other add-on has fallen from grace quite like this, and this single add-on can be pointed to as the complete and total ineptitude of Behavior's balance team. Teleporting to a TV will no longer push Condemn, but it also doesn't turn off the TVs. Survivors turning TVs off will turn them off for 20% longer. This add-on is literally pointless, because the only thing it would be good for, as I showed in a video on the pre-3.0 live buff, to bounce back and forth on TVs by a hooked survivor, to essentially proxy camp them to death or tunnel them off hook. However, survivors can still freely grab tapes, and not only can they do this, it turns your TVs off for longer, and there is literally no downside to doing this, meaning you are not only self-deleting one of your only abilities, which is condemn pushing, but the survivor then deletes your other ability for even longer. This is an add-on that was one of the best add-ons for her entire existence up until the 3.0 rework, and now it's completely useless versus passable survivors. Tape editing. Another add-on destroyed by behaviour making tapes hold no threat. This add-on makes survivors start with a tape, and then they have to deposit that tape into the furthest TV from where they've spawned. This add-on in 1.0 used to give you some early game slowdown and early game condemn push, since again you would gain condemn holding a tape. This let you build a couple stacks on survivors before downing them, or would encourage them to run across the map to instantly deposit it, giving you a little early game slowdown. 2.0 it would let you snowball, since hitting a tape holder would give them 2 stacks of condemn and break the tape, giving you a lot of early game condemn. 3.0 it does nothing. In fact, it actually buffs the survivors, since it will allow them to complete a generator without gaining a condemn stack. Right now, if you want to do a gen quickly, you go to the gen you want to do and you grab the tape, which gives you 70 seconds of immunity, which isn't enough to solo a gen. So then partway through doing this gen, you must then go turn the TV off again, which while holding a tape will give you a stack of condemn. With this add-on, you can run to the gen you need to deposit the tape into, start doing it, and then once the TVs turn on, deposit the tape, turning it off for 70 seconds, and you gain no stacks for this. Then when it turns back on, you won't have a tape, and therefore you can grab another one, again giving you no downsides, and again turning the TV off for 70 seconds, allowing you to finish the gen and then walk to the TV that you have to deposit your new tape into, and then rinse repeat this, allowing you to essentially constantly do generators without ever gaining a stack of condemn. Never use this add-on. BCR causes all TVs to play the projection effect when projecting to any TV. Again, another add-on ruined by behaviour's inability to think about the consequences of changes they implemented with 3.0 Sadako. This add-on's purpose was to confuse survivors by never making them 100% sure whether you TP'd to their generator's television. However, the TV auras they implemented hard counter this add-on. If the TV does not have an aura, therefore it isn't turned on, you couldn't have possibly teleported to it, so you can ignore the sound. If the TV does have an aura and she teleports, and you don't see that aura disappear, that means that TV is still on, and therefore she couldn't have teleported to it. If you see the TV's aura disappear on a teleport, that means she is teleported to that TV. Meaning the base kit survivor changes versus Sadako hard counter this add-on by giving you all the information you need to know to work out if she is teleported. Next up we have Telephone. Telephone causes survivors to suffer from the hindered effect for 3 seconds when manifesting within 7 meters of them. Unlike Distorted Photo, the survivor doesn't need to directly be looking at Sadako for the effect to take place. However, because it's 7 meters, you actually waste more time on a straight trying to get value from this add-on than you do just manifesting and using the lunge. This means it will be only useful on loops. However, the hinder is only 2% for 3 seconds, which is basically nothing, especially considering you have to actually manifest, which slows you down, before you can proc this add-on's effect. Even with the recent buffs to your manifest movement speed, it is not enough to use this add-on to reliably get hits. Hits you get with this add-on pretty much every single time you got because of a well-executed manifest mind game as opposed to the 2% hinder effect. And it's better to put your add-ons into improving the manifest mind game as opposed to this very pitiful hinder. Next up, we have Distorted Photo. Survivors who see you manifest within 16 meters will scream and reveal their aura for 4 seconds. It's important to note that survivors require not only direct line of sight on you for this to work, but their camera physically needs to be looking at you too, similar to revealing Ghostface. Meaning if they run in a straight line looking forward, this effect won't work. Meaning the add-on that's main use would be to reveal the aura of survivors on loops with tall walls where you can't see them, can't proc because of said walls. Meaning you would only get it to work on loops where you already have direct line of sight on the survivor, which is obviously fucking pointless having their aura shown on these loops since you can already see them. The screen doesn't stop pallet drops or window vaults either, but you can't use it as some form of anti-loop like Doctor, despite what I've seen some people claim. However, there is one thing that screaming does interrupt. That's right, it interrupts their tape deposit and retrieval animation. This means that theoretically, you could interrupt a tape insert if they're fully condemned and turn a situation where you wouldn't previously get a kill into one where you could get a kill, which could be the turning point for the entire match. However, Multiple things need to fall into place for this to occur. First, you need to time your manifest to happen during the tape insert animation to prevent it. You then also need to be close enough to still be able to interrupt the second tape insert attempt. Then the most important point, the survivor has to be looking at you when they do it. Not only are there a lot of TVs in places where this just is not possible, but the survivor can just hard counter it by not looking at you, and all this on a situation that does not happen very often. But I did think I would add this so you could maybe try experiment with it to see how you like it. And there it is, 20 add-ons described in detail with examples for each. This video took a stupid amount of time to put together, so I hope it ends up helping someone or taught you something new. If I missed something with an add-on, let me and the other fellow Sadakos know below. We can all try and improve together and try and drag her out the depths of obscurity, no matter how much behaviour try to stomp us down. If you stick around, I'll see you guys in the next video.
A kind of a